YouTube channel. So this is my first video on this channel, and this will be mainly about me trying to document my journey from New Delhi to Toronto. I'm going to the University of Waterloo as a master's student, and as you've probably seen in the video title, this is going to be an indirect route. So there are basically two legs of this trip. The first one is from New Delhi to Dubai. Then I have a layover of around 19 hours, and then the second part of the trip is from Dubai to Toronto. So today is the 8th of January. So I've already actually completed the first leg of my trip, and I'm at my hotel for the layover. So apart from shooting my entire journey, I also wanted to tell everyone watching this video about all the documents that are required when you're going to Canada as a student for the very first time. And I have a very comprehensive list of everything that needs to be carried in order to make your immigration hassle-free. Other than that, I also wanted to tell you about the COVID tests that have to be done. There are certain intricacies to it, and with the Omicron cases rising fast, each airline and country, they're actually changing up their regulations, and it is very difficult to follow. To be honest, I was traveling with Emirates, and some of the web pages are quite outdated and you wouldn't know exactly what to do. So even though I am telling you about what all COVID tests need to be done, still I would make sure to call the customer care of Emirates and let them know that you are traveling, and get the most up-to-date information, because these things are very volatile and they keep changing each and every day. Going to IGI Terminal 3. Outside Terminal 3 in the parking complex, there is a jean strings lab where we are required to take an RTPCR. Tomorrow is my flight at 10:35 AM and the time is around 6 right now, so it will take around 6 to 8 hours to get the. This is the place where the RT-PCR testing was being done. As you can see, there's a lot of rush there. There's a long queue, so to avoid that, you can actually pre-book a slot online. So after this test, a lady there at the Jean Strings lab, she told me that if you are going to Dubai for a layover, you'll actually need another test known as the Rapid PCR test. So what I took was the RT-PCR test. So an additional test was required if you are going to Dubai. This I did not know about. So just for confirmation, I called the Emirates customer care, and just a pro tip here that if you're not able to get through to their customer care operator, because most of the times they are very busy, like it usually takes around an hour to get through to them, you can do one thing. You can actually apply for their free Skywards membership program, and once you are a Skywards member, you can actually get through to them fairly quickly. I got through to them I think in 10 or 15 minutes, and I reconfirmed. So she told me that you need to take an RT-PCR test within 48 hours of your departure flight to Dubai, and another rapid PCR within 6 hours of your departure flight. So these two documents are required and are mandatory if you want to board the flight. So heading for my rapid PCR test right now. Just entered the airport. Apparently we have to get the hard copies of both the RT-PCR and the rapid PCR tests before we can actually check in. So just got both of them. Luckily both are negative. So heading to the check-in counter right now. Got my boarding pass. Heading to the security right now. Done with the check-in. So a slight correction over here actually. First you'll have to go through immigration, and then you'll have security checking. So at the immigration counters, you'll have your immigration officers who will check mainly 3 documents. The first will be your passport, the second will be your study permit or your study visa, which is stamped inside your passport, and the third one will be your boarding pass. After he verifies all 3, he'll let you go. He can ask you a couple of questions, and once he's convinced, you can move on and go on to the security checking. So finally through with the immigration and security check. time to board the plane.
إليكم وإشراء السلامة على متن هذه الطائرة.
In case you have a layover here in Dubai, you'll get a complimentary RTPCR report done. We have this testing center, so if you want to exit the airport, you have to go through this. This is the point where UAE immigration officers are present. They check your visa and your passport, and if everything is all right, they clear you. I think we can book an Uber from here. I'll have to find exit 2 first, because that is where the Uber leaves from. Got it. Trying to find my taxi. I hope this is the pickup point. So this is something weird I found. You'll have to insert the card into this place in order to operate the lift. Otherwise it won't work.
First is in the middle of the way is Dubai Mall, but if we continue straight, then it's Ibn Battuta
Acha,
Mall.
okay. So can't we take the Sheikh Zayed route, go to Ibn Battuta Mall and turn back and come to Dubai Mall?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so that is what I want to do.
Okay, first you go to Ibn Battuta Mall.
Yeah, so I don't want you to drop me off there.
Okay.
You just take the car there,
Okay.
and we come back.
Okay, sure.
And you drop me off at
Dubai Mall.
Dubai
at the
Mall.
end of the time.
Yeah, so you understand it right
Yes,
now?
yes, yes.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
ये पिछली तरफ न्यू दुबई है.
अच्छा अच्छा. एक्चुअली मैं ब्लॉग भी बनाने वाला हूँ इसका, इसीलिए मैं बीच बीच में कैमरा ऑन कर दे रहा हूँ.
अब अपने फ्रंट सीट पे बैठना था फिर.
अच्छा, फ्रंट सीट पे.
फिर आपके लिए इजी होता.
हाँ यार.
यहाँ से आगे बिल्डिंग्स हाई राइज टावर शुरू हो जाते हैं.
अच्छा. Guys, this is the world's largest Ferris wheel. The medical professional who had taken my COVID test at the airport, she stuck a QR code at the back of my passport. We are required to scan that QR code. We'll be redirected to a website where we can see whether or not our reports have come in. Once I got back to the hotel, my reports had come in and it was luckily negative. It's 4:10 a.m. 9th January. We'll be heading out now to the Dubai airport and to the final leg of this trip. So there was an insane line at the Emirates check-in counter which we can totally avoid. Since our baggages were already checked in at New Delhi, we are required to collect it in Toronto. So we don't have any new bags to check in at the Dubai airport. So what we can do is there are computer systems near the check-in counter. We can put in our PNR, scan our passports, and our boarding passes will be automatically generated. So we can completely skip the check-in part and go straight away to the security and immigration. So after generating my boarding pass, I headed over to the immigration counters, but to my surprise, there were actually no immigration counters, no immigration officers. They were replaced by what were called smart gates. So these smart gates actually had computer systems which could take high resolution photographs and could verify your passport. So once everything checked out, these gates would automatically open and you could head over to the security.
Gentlemen, we will be arriving in Toronto shortly. Please sit up to your seat and make sure your baggage is under the seat in front of you or in the overhead locker. Your seat must be upright with the arm.
As I was heading out, I finally reached this place. There were a lot of people lined up here and all of us were being guided to a computer system where we had to declare a number of things like whether or not we were suffering from any COVID symptoms, the amount of money that we were carrying, the length of our program, and there were also scanning machines. So our passports were scanned and there was a camera as well which took a photograph. So according to the information that we had put in, a receipt was generated which we then had to take to the immigration officers next. So after you get your declaration receipt, you will have to go to the immigration counter where there'll be an officer who will meet you and he will decide whether or not you are required to go through randomized testing. In my case, I was, and I got this pink slip on my passport which actually tells you that you have been selected, and if this is green then you're basically exempt and you can go anywhere you want after exiting the airport. As for my case, I was required to go in a taxi to my quarantine location that I had mentioned in my RAFCAN app, and I'll have to wait there until I receive a negative report, which usually takes around 3 to 5 days. Now this process, I don't know how random it was, because almost all of the students that were with me, they eventually got this pink sticker on their passport. So eventually we had to mostly quarantine. A quick side note here, that from now on most of the video will basically be photographs and me doing voiceovers, because at most places we were not allowed to use cameras, and wherever I could, I actually took photographs instead of videos, because shooting videos was a little odd because I was surrounded by a lot of people. So I actually took photographs with the intention of doing voiceovers later on to provide all the information I can. So after getting the pink sticker on my passport, I had to assemble in a line which was basically comprised of students, and all of us, we were directed to a specific section of the airport which was allocated to the immigration officers for attending to students that had arrived on a study permit. And there they actually verified all the documents that we were carrying, and in the upcoming photograph you will actually get a list of all of them, and I'll go through each one of them to provide more information if required. And so at this place we were called one by one by our name, and we had to show the immigration officers all the documents that we had. And when he was convinced, he actually gave us a hard copy of a study permit, which we have to use anytime when we are traveling on a visa. So at the place that we were waiting, the immigration officers had already listed down all the documents they wanted to verify before giving the study permit. So I'll just run through each one of them quickly, as I see that the photograph is not very clear. So the first one is your passport and your declaration slip that was generated whenever you landed by the computer system. The second one is the letter of acceptance and the proof of enrollment. The third one is the proof of tuition payment, which you automatically have submitted at the time of applying for a study permit. The fourth one is your bank statement or your GIC, which again you must have submitted when you had applied for a study permit. The fifth one is IELTS, and also finally we had to wait for our names to be called out before actually going up to them. So finally, after my documents were verified, I finally received the hard copy of my study permit. Now the hard copy, keeping proper care of it is of utmost importance, because you'll need it a lot of times, especially for identification. And whenever you set up your bank accounts and you want to get your SIN number, you'll have to give them as proof. Additionally, whenever you are traveling as well, you'll have to carry it. So just be careful and take proper care. And once I got my hard copy, I went to the baggage carousel to get all my luggage, and I headed to the COVID testing facility because I was selected for randomized testing. And there you'll have to actually register on the Switch Health app, and don't worry, there will be assistants there to guide you through the registration process, and there will be a quick testing done, and then you'll have to head out to your quarantine location and basically wait for the results to come in. So finally, that was my trip from India to Canada. I hope all of you liked the video, and I try to make the video as information rich as possible to help out all the fellow students coming in. And I would want to make more videos on similar lines in the future. So the kind of feedback you gave on this video will be really helpful in me deciding to pursue that goal in the future. So feel free to like the video, put in comments if you have any doubts, and most probably I would want to create a Discord channel for this purpose. So if any one of you wants to have a better discussion which is more interactive, if I do make the channel, I'll link it down in the description, so be sure to find that. And thank you, and bye bye.